everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bobble Pod. I will not be ranting this episode, you'll be glad to know. But we do have a guest with us this time. We have Lewis Murch, our paid media manager.
Hello. Nice to meet you guys.
So today we are talking about paid media specifically. Lewis, you want to give some updates in terms of what's going on. We want to discuss them. So it's time to get into digital marketing talk, as I call it. But as always, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Be much appreciated. And don't forget to follow the Mr. Bobble official brands across TikTok, Instagram. That intro changes every time because I forget about half the things I need to say. So, Lewis, please, for our listeners, I know we did an intro and we did the seasonal strategy podcast a few weeks ago, and you were on there with Molly and Joel. But do a bit of a more detailed couple-of-minute introduction to our listeners in terms of what it is you do.
Okay, yeah. So I started with Bobble back in 2021, was it? Maybe before? I don't know.
22.
Oh, we are now 22, yeah. 2022. This came from a freelancing background, more graphic design. Was always interested in the digital marketing sort of corner of the world. Never really had the opportunity to jump into it. Came into Bobble as an exec and slowly worked my way up into the paid media.
Harassed me for a job.
Yeah, harassed.
On LinkedIn.
Yeah, really bad. So
I nearly got restraining order out on it.
Yeah, long story short, I think I just come across Manny and the Bobble brand through LinkedIn. Chased Manny various times on LinkedIn, messaging, asking for a job. He asked me to go away and do various courses, the introduction to digital marketing, Google courses, Google Digital Garage, and I went away and did it and came back, and he still had no job for me, unfortunately. And then he said, come back in February, and first day of February, I was like, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you did that between September, October, and you came back to me December, and I was like, look, it's Christmas. I think I have something for you in February. And then we sat down in January and you started in February.
Yeah.
And it's because I created a job for you. And it's that appetite that I look for in staff, is initiative. He could have just gone away and said, no, I'm not going to do that. But his appetite to come back and say, actually, yeah, I've done all this stuff, was actually more of a shock and surprise for me. But I was like, no, I need to hire this kid. And it gave me enough confidence to say, this kid can go far, because if he's kept at it and gone away and done all that self-development and learning, imagine what he could do with me guiding him with all the knowledge and experience I have and what he could achieve. So you've been here, it'll be 3 years in February.
Yeah, 3 years coming up, yeah.
Three
so very long years.
Goes to show, but it's true, it goes to show what you can do with a little bit of initiative. So if you want to... No experience in digital marketing. I wasn't going to offer him that wage level without some experience. Otherwise, he would have to join our grad scheme. And fair play to him, he did it. So if you want to get ahead, show a bit of willingness, show that you're willing to learn and develop. And I guarantee you'll be rewarded for your effort. And I go back to you now, don't I? In terms of at the beginning of your career, you end up doing more work than you're paid for, but eventually you get paid more than the work you do.
Yeah. And there's a lot of mistakes I made on the way there, but of course, it happens, and you have to make mistakes to advance in your role no matter what. I'm guessing
I got
pretty much the same thing for you as well with the CEO status.
Like 228 different mistakes I've logged so far. Just made that number up.
Is that just today?
No, that was just yesterday.
Last week, yeah.
I haven't counted today, I've been busy. No, it's, but you learn from your mistakes, don't you?
Yeah, and you learn from doing as well, I guess. I think the positive thing for me was I'm a very kinetic learner, and I learned more just by just coming and getting on with it instead of coming and listening and doing it. It was more of a, okay, well, take this into practice, do your job. Manny gave me a great guidance and a great, I guess, backing. And then I just went away and just got on with it, I guess, as such. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, the first, he's come along. You've come a long way. I now come to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he knows more than me. It's just that I come to him some more.
Let's just say that again. The student has become the master.
Sometimes I have to remind the student who the real master is, especially when it comes to issues and dealing with stuff. It's like, thought you were the master, mate. But no, now we've brought in some extra resource for your development as well. So he's ready for the next step, which is senior management and then head of. And to get to that, obviously, he needs experience from outside of me because it's all about time and how much time I can give him, and I don't want to stop his development. So we brought in a specialist, a friend of mine who I've worked with, who used to work at some of the biggest agencies building their departments in paid media, to guide him. So now he's got great resource. So you invest in your staff and you support your staff, and you should get that back as a reward in terms of their commitment to you. But paid media, what's going on?
There's quite a lot going on actually at paid media at the minute. Constant updates from Google, constant updates from Meta, constant updates from GF4. Where do I start?
Well, in fairness, you asked for this podcast, so you should know where to start right now. Let's start with Google.
I could provide a full timeline. But,
let's digest it for our listeners. What's changed in the last 6 months in Google, and where do you expect that to be in the next 6 months?
So first of all, shopping campaigns, so Shopify clients, WordPress clients and so on, e-commerce, a lot has changed in terms of how you run shopping campaigns now. What I have noticed is a lot of these existing shopping campaigns have now migrated over to Performance Max, which is one of Google's new campaign builds. And what you can do with that campaign is utilize Google Search, Google Display, Discovery, Gmail, and shopping all in one place. And this obviously pulls through your Merchant Center data as well. So a great tool, and it's, I advise fully to make use of that feature, especially with the audience fragmentation that you can actually use. With Google again, obviously the content mod, cookies, that initially came 6 months ago, and it's now being taken away again, which is so frustrating, because obviously we'd migrated most clients over to the content mode V2, and now Google have now said that they don't want to do it anymore. They want to push it back till next September, I think it is, off the top of my head.
I think that's because of the technical issues with Tag Manager that I was creating, wasn't it?
There's a lot of problems, and it was very costly as well. So I think a lot of people had issues with setting up content mode V2 because you had things like Cookiebot or Cookie Monster where there was a cost behind it. So you was paying a subscription fee to have this on.
Not the real Cookie Monster, I might add. It's just a term.
Yeah, so the timeline of that's being pushed further back, and I have a feeling that they'll probably push it back even more or change the whole model. Well, they've
reversed back their decision on removing cookies.
Yeah.
Exactly. So after 2 years, we're getting rid of cookies, and now we're not.
Yeah.
Cookies are good. We should have cookies in every office, but I'm just generally saying. But yeah, their cookie policy is just, this is Google, and this is why I get frustrated with Google, because they have a monopoly, and they dictate, and I think they abuse their position in the marketplace. Because they are the number one search engine in the world when 9% of traffic globally goes to them. So 9 out of 10 searches goes to Google globally. So it's like you have to listen to what Google says. Not all of it's bad. A lot of it's good results on how this also helps small businesses, big businesses, etc. But it's just they're so wish-washy with their decision-making. And a lot of problems have come from support.
Yeah.
15,000 staff globally gone. The support network's terrible. It's almost like, how can a multi-billion-dollar company have such poor customer service and support staff?
And drop off so quick, especially back in November. I think it was announced that the cost of the click would raise by 10%.
Here's something Google did back in
November
last year, which was everybody's CPCs went up, but no one could understand why. And with market conditions, and then Google came out and said, oh, by the way, we increased the cost of CPCs.
Without saying anything to
without telling everyone until after they did it. Yep. And then because some people realised, they're like, no, this has to be Google. And they got called out by it. They got called out by it by a few industry experts, and they admitted, yeah, we did. So they increased all CPC bids by 10% to hit their quarterly target.
Yeah, that's so bad.
It's really bad. Yeah,
there you go.
And exactly. It's hard to turn around and tell a then client when they're complaining, saying, why is this increased?
Yeah, I've spent more money, but my cost per lead's gone up. Yeah. Well, yeah, because unfortunately, and here's the evidence, Google increased CPCs by 10% so they could hit their quarterly target or towards their yearly target. So, and they didn't tell us. And you're having to go at us And this is something we didn't have any control over. Oh, you guys aren't doing well, the CPC's gone up, the cost per lead's gone up. That was all down to Google.
If one of your suppliers did that, put the price up, didn't bother telling you, you'd be furious.
Can't talk about that right now, can we, Lauren?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that was another one of the updates, I guess, especially for the cost wise. More into like some positive updates of Google, especially in the recent sort of 3 to 4 months, not 6 months. They've recently partnered with Canva as well. So there's now AI tools that you can actually use within your video creation or your image creation. So for example, if you've got a certain product, so if you're selling a bed, for example, you can now use a tool within the Google Ads platform that directly connects into Canva that'll create you a background for your bed or add a bedroom, and then it only keeps it so it's specific to your brand as well, which is fantastic. So whatever image that's then created, you own that image, so it doesn't create the same image again for somebody else.
That was needed though, because with PMax campaign, we use Canva quite a bit to create animated videos, different kind of graphics. Because it's template based, you can create so many assets very quickly that fall within the Google, spec guidelines. But you need how many images for a PMax campaign?
Up to 20 images. Yeah.
Up to 20 images. How many videos?
5 videos.
5 videos.
Yeah.
So you can use Canva for that, and the fact that they've integrated it was a smart move by Canva. Canva's not that expensive either, so I'd say actually, that was one of the positives because it gives more creative freedom.
Yeah.
And for smaller businesses in particular, it was really good because smaller businesses can't afford a creative agency. They can't afford a video agency unless we give them Josh. So,
the man.
Yeah, Josh's rates are good. I like it. So don't change your prices, Josh. Especially not with me. Other clients is fine. But it helps because more businesses realistically can't afford all that extra creative costs on top of ad spend. So it keeps costs down. It means we're experienced with Canva because we do organic social media stuff and we use Canva templates for that. It works quite well. And
it helps specifically with resizing as well. One of the biggest pain points we're having most clients is they've sent us a set of creatives, so whether it be square, 1080 by 1080 products, they struggle with resizing it then to create it, obviously for banner ads or horizontal style ads. So Canva, obviously, integration will do that for you using AI. I mean, you have to obviously have a little bit of a wiggle around and move things around yourself as such, but it makes life a little bit easier so you then don't have to get your client to then spend extra money into a creative agency, for example, or spending money on Photoshop. Or
to be honest with you, it's great for small businesses, and small businesses wouldn't use creative agencies. It's not going to impact creative agencies because a creative agency is going to use like a local legal firm and be like, they'll want to charge $1,000 to $2,000 for that creative and that time because it's about 20 hours worth of work a month. And we can integrate as part of our work and reduce the cost for the client. So actually, there are some good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And then
what else have we had?
Probably the final one, more recent one actually, is that Google Add Video. Google does like a creative tool through video, and you can actually add voiceovers now through text-to-speech on your ads. So, for example, if you're advertising something and you didn't have a voice, or
you see it on TikTok all the time.
Speech overs. Now Google's introduced that, so you can do a text-to-speech model. So if you want to advertise as a product, you have a voice behind it. So, really great tool.
Yeah,
I use it yet, but I mean,
I guess we should test it. Yeah, especially for some of our small local businesses, we use it and test it on them because they're the ones that don't have the capability of it. And then we learn from that and apply it to some of the wider clients where we can say, hang on, let us A/B test and create our own video from what you've supplied us and see if we can make something different. And then that might work in terms of an A/B test ad.
If someone needs a voiceover with a nice, strong Yorkshire accent, I might know someone that could provide that. That's all.
Well, let me know. I think we could get him on the podcast.
I'm off. We'll find it.
No. So that's Google. Meta. Meta is the second largest platform that we spend a lot of time on. What's going on?
Really important platform. So Meta, again, the actual interface of the Meta platform, the ads platform, changes pretty much on a daily basis at the moment. It's probably one of the most frustrating platforms to use. The easiest platform, but the most frustrating in terms of they don't announce when anything changes, which is so frustrating. I mean, one thing at the moment that is very important to highlight is that Meta announced a direct integration through GA4, which is coming at some point soon. We don't know when. But the GA4 migration into that to directly track everything that comes from paid social, because it's always been a problem
The accuracy with paid social has been the biggest problem, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's because the GA4 data has always been significantly different to what's in the Meta ad account.
Mm-hmm. And the only obviously way to do that is by building GTM URLs.
Yeah.
And
they're not accurate. Yeah,
exactly.
They're not accurate in terms of tracking it as well.
Yeah, so that's one big thing that's coming, which will alleviate a lot of stress from quite a lot of clients, actually, especially when it comes to tracking paid social and GA4. There's going to be a direct migration from there. So.
Yeah, and all this data is going to help. This integration of data and tracking from multiple platforms and the ease of elements, it is helping a lot of smaller businesses and getting more accurate insights in terms of what's working, what's not working. It's only going to help Facebook understand actually how impactful their platform is, or Instagram, for example.
Yeah, and again, the AI, Meta's introduced their own version of the AI. Same thing with Google to create brand new ads straight from an AI tool, which is probably one of the things that, I'm guessing if you watch the other podcasts, you've heard quite a lot is AI. And the truth is it's been introduced into every single platform now. So you've got LinkedIn, Meta, Google in particular. And obviously on this occasion, Meta is the strongest one at the moment. The AI tools for that in terms of the creative is fantastic. You literally add one image in, it'll create you a fully created ad from that. And how
it's good. It's good. And they're going to eventually increase threads into it.
Yeah.
Aren't they? I know you can do business WhatsApp advertising. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot more integrations to come into that.
Yeah.
And Threads is still a big platform as well.
Is it? I was going to say until you said it then, I'd kind of forgotten that Threads existed.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
No, because when you go into the feed of Instagram or Facebook, they actually showcase relevant threads.
Yeah, no, they do.
So I end up clicking on it to see what the message is.
Yeah.
And I end up leaving and going on to Threads. And then I get bored and I should instantly go back to Instagram Reels. So, but they integrated it more into the Instagram, Facebook platform. But what will happen next is Thread ads. A whole different marketplace to present your ads. I think that'll get integrated into thingies sooner rather than later. But it's still untapped. I don't know how active it is. Maybe they might not be able to monetize it yet. But maybe they just want to keep it as a clean platform and ad-free. Shocker if they did that. But yeah, it's interesting how they've already integrated it. It's like with LinkedIn. If you go into your LinkedIn app now, you've got the video option. Mm-hmm. So video is really good, which is great, perfect timing for us because we upload all the video snippets behind the scenes of what we do for the podcast, all the Mr. Bobble stuff. Now there's a dedicated video tab, so even LinkedIn's going fully immersive into like a video feed. So that means video ads are going to play a bigger part and role as people go through the feed on LinkedIn, just like you have on Instagram or Meta.
It seems that most platforms are now trying to become the new TikTok.
Yes. Or integrate TikTok style, content into their platform. And I think there's no space for it on LinkedIn.
I was going to ask you whether or not you think that'll work on LinkedIn.
I think if you
honestly, it feels a bit clumsy at the moment.
I think my problem with LinkedIn, tell me if you agree with this. I know we're going away a bit from paid media to more organic, but it is becoming Instagram and Facebook. I mean, it's selfie pictures of people in the gym and, bullshit motivational quotes. It's like, you got that from Google, basically. It's like, you don't believe that, or ChatGPT. Yeah. And it's like, and all for likes and for unmeaningful metrics. Like Instagram moved away from actually showing likes on most profiles because it became a vanity metric, and it's almost like those people have left Instagram going onto LinkedIn, and they're doing the exact same thing. And it's like, I don't need a selfie view in a car. What's that got to do with anything? I woke up at 6 a.m, got my morning walk out in, and it shows all much, and I'm like, don't give it a rest. And then they've got like nearly 1,000 likes, and I'm thinking, I know why you've got 1,000 likes. And it's like, literally, you say what you want, but you laugh, but
it's the truth.
It's the truth. Yeah. It's the truth. It is. And it's like, and I just dismiss it constantly. So I think LinkedIn is a professional platform, keep it professional. Yeah. In terms of like your content, talk about work, talk about challenges, talk about, engaging topics, divide opinion, create conversation, create debate in a healthy way. I don't know if my last podcast did that, but still, the idea is, create that kind of stuff. But then you got to think more creatively in terms of from a paid perspective. So LinkedIn's a bit behind, isn't it, from an ad perspective?
It seems to be catching up. There is a lot of new, gem formats now for your ads. So like document ads, event ads. Obviously, carousel's looking a little bit better as well. They are starting to introduce a few more new AI tools, but again, LinkedIn's always a little bit more behind because it's such a high cost platform. Now your average cost per click is over a five every single click really. And your cost per lead or cost per purchase or whatever it may be as your objective is always going to be much, much higher than, for example, Google, Meta, Instagram, so on. So yeah, it's quite behind really. What's your thoughts on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I don't like how you still can't create multiple ad types within one ad group.
Yeah, that's really
So if you're going to create a campaign in LinkedIn, let's say you're going to do lead gen ads, then you can only do lead gen ads. But you can't then add. If you create an image ad, if you're going to do video ad or an image ad, it's separate, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you have to do it all separately. So you have to create multiple campaigns. And it's just like, come on, LinkedIn, get with the times. Allow for multiple types of ad creations in one campaign. And I don't know why they don't do it. It's frustrating. One platform we haven't talked about, which is quite key, is TikTok.
TikTok, yeah, very important platform actually. And one thing that you highlighted as well, like, the attention span for users now have just gone down. I think the average I read during some YouTube training the other week, the average user's attention span in 2024 is down to 2.3 seconds compared to 8 seconds in 2022. And because of platforms like TikTok, platforms like Meta now, obviously you can just scroll for Reels. Nobody uses it for what it's meant to be for anymore. It's more of a just having a scroll, just having a browse through, which is a great tool for if you're using short ads and quick fire ads, but yeah, it's the attention span is.
I guess
forever changing.
For ads to win now, it's how good is your ad at catching attention. And so for small businesses, it's going to be difficult because it's like how creative can you be and how creative can you get. Especially let's say if you're a local boiler company, how are you going to attract attention in a very creative way? But then again, do you really need to be on TikTok if you're a local boiler company? So it's a balancing act. But you don't want to get left behind with a mundane, boring brand. You want to create engagement, lead the way. But I like the search elements within TikTok.
Yeah, they're starting to introduce the search campaigns actually and search ads. I don't know if you've seen that yourself. Yeah. So that'll be coming.
The new Google is TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok is so great. I don't know what's going on in the US. I know they passed a law that they will have to leave or something and it won't be available. Again, I see my last episode what my thoughts are, stuff like that. But it's like there's a lot of content creators in the US. It's going to impact them. So I know they've got the right to appeal, which will take another 2-3 years. So TikTok's not going anywhere in the US. But again, people are searching for key things that's happening in the mainstream news or what's trending. A bit like on X, previously Twitter, where they're going on and they're like, right, what's going on with this? You might search something in. So if there's like urgent news or let's say a celebrity's passed away, people searching in, it gives you recommendations when you're searching for videos of what's hot trending and what you've searched for previously. So the historical log there. So they're tapping into that keyword research. Imagine keyword research based on someone wanting to know something about a product or a business or a sector or a brand, and then be able to place your brand in the right way to that right person and get them to buy. It's full 360, I call it. I think Google tries to be full 360, but it can't because it has different platforms. But TikTok's one platform which can be a full 360.
Billions and billions of users on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's just become so big so quick. I think they came in at the right time. And I think what really helped them was lockdown because everybody went onto TikTok. I didn't have a TikTok account until lockdown.
Same here,
yeah.
It was just a pastime.
Yeah.
And then now it's become 1 o'clock in the morning.
Now it just reminds me of Call of Duty days from lockdown, which I reminisce on. I'm like, oh, that was a good time. Yeah.
But so, it's a great platform. I think there's a lot coming in the future for TikTok. It just depends which way it's going to go.
My final question is, why should businesses be focused on paid media now? We're coming up into a cost of living crisis. We're going to come up to a probably difficult Q4. I don't want to talk about seasonal or anything like that. I want to say, well, what should business be doing, particularly with paid media? And don't say strategy. I'm going to count that one out because that one's an easy one. Yeah. So what should businesses be doing when it comes to paid media now until the end of the year?
I think you should be getting prepared. I mean, I know you mentioned don't talk about seasonality, but it's hard not to when you're saying towards the end of the year. A lot of people do not prepare for what's to come. And I think it's about...
But if a business prepares, let me put it into this context. Yeah. Business prepares, what tactics or what elements or what one thing do you think they should be testing or adapting towards within paid media to try that they're probably not trying and they're probably just doing the basics? Because you can be prepared.
That's the question. That's the.
So should we tell them to be auditing themselves on a regular basis?
They need to be having a look at what they did 4 months prior to now. So if you're speaking about the next 4 months, have a look at what you're doing and what's been going on in the last year for you guys, or 4 months, or whatever it may be, and say, okay, well, we've tried this, cancel all this out, let's try this now. So, for example, if a potential business was using a Google platform and they've been running it for a whole year, audit that Google platform, have a look at what you've done, have a look at what you've not done. Speak to other external agencies like yourself, come to us for an audit, or speak to somebody else for advice, because
it's a good way of selling without trying to sell.
No, but it's the truth, unfortunately. And a lot of things as well, especially for new businesses, especially when you're starting out like a new ad account, we always say, like when we first before we even launch any campaigns or anything like that, if you're thinking about advertising, we try to break the website, we try to break things and try to do things in the wrong way, so then we come up with these answers and problems before they actually do build any campaigns. So it's about trying to take a little bit of a step behind to step forward again by 2 steps, if that makes any sense. And I think that's really important to mention, to be honest.
Yeah, so essentially what we're saying is
2 steps back to 5 steps forward, in a sense. Yeah,
2 steps back to 5 steps forwards. Never heard of that one before. That's new.
You've just invented a new saying.
I think you just have, isn't it? Take 1 step back to take 2 steps
Copyright.
forward.
Yeah.
Copyrighted by Lewis Murch.
This is effectively 1 step forward for 2.5 steps.
Put it on a T-shirt.
Even better, yeah.
Put it on a T-shirt. Yeah.
But it's the truth, we try to do it with a lot of clients, especially if they're coming on board again. Try to break things, play around with it, act like you're stupid.
Yeah,
it works.
You never know what you might find.
Yeah, exactly. These are the problems that you find to help.
It's extreme A/B testing, as I call it. There's logical.
It's true.
And for the record, clients, we're not trying to break things with your ads accounts. I just want to put that on the record very straight on your website. It's not what we try to do. But no, thanks for joining us, Lewis. I think that's been quite insightful. Some really good tips there that we can help with people. So if you are, spending money on paid media, pay attention to the tips across Google, LinkedIn, Meta, TikTok that Lewis has shared and what we've discussed. If you have any more questions, reach out, connect with Lewis on LinkedIn, drop him some messages on the Bobble Pod, and I'm sure he'll get back to you, and I'm sure we'll catch up with Lewis again in the future. So thanks, Lewis, for being on board and supporting me. Pleasure. And don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. We've got a few more guests coming up in the upcoming episode, and we have that exciting one to talk about for Yup and IDS coming up as well soon. One interesting one I'm going to have is about talking about HR within the marketing and the actual workspace as well, with Georgie from Access HR. So I'm looking forward to that one. So yeah, every Tuesday, catch us then. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.